To a growing crisis in Flint, Michigan over the city's water supply.
Following the investigation in Flint.
A state of emergency has been declared in Flint, Michigan after high levels of lead were found in children's blood.
Flint's tap water was laced with dangerous levels of lead.
We found the worst lead and water contamination that I have seen in 25 years.
To save money, the city stopped pumping water from Detroit and started pumping it from the Flint River. The problem is it's a lot more corrosive, damaging Flint's aging pipes and leaching lead into its water supply.
So lead is an irreversible neurotoxin. Once it is in your body, the damage is done.
When lead is ingested or inhaled, no organ in the body is spared. Lead even attacks the DNA, affecting not just you, but your future children.
We need to get these pipes out of the ground.
Not just a water crisis.
It's a genocide.
It's a racial crisis. It's a poverty crisis.
If there's a way for you to make it better for your family, you should, because every community is close to being Flint, Michigan. It's worse than scary. They made a decision based on economics and a cheaper water source, and they changed the chemistry of their pipes, and that was what, 2014, and they're still resolving it. So those poor people have had a lot of trauma and health issues, I'm sure, to come.
Lead contamination is the most harmful for infants, although it still affects adults as well. Lead can cause nervous system damage, kidney damage, decreased muscle and bone growth, and poor muscle coordination in children, to name a few. But the most alarming side effect of lead poisoning is the development of learning disabilities, attention deficit disorder, and overall decreased intelligence.
It's really, really bad. I have seen it firsthand. I used to live in an area of older homes, not this one, in a different neighborhood, and our neighbors had lead paint, which is against the law, but it was an old apartment, and this single mom had a bunch of little kids, and the kids were getting lead poisoning from this paint that was getting on her kitchen dishes. And the little boy that I saw used to be a rambunctious little 3-year-old, and when I saw him next, she was wheeling him in a stroller, and he looked almost unconscious. I mean, his eyes were droopy. He was unresponsive to questions. He looked dazed, and, ultimately it gives you brain damage.
According to Rebecca Renner, the author of Reaction to the Solution, Lead Exposure Following Partial Service Line Replacement, lead line replacement changes the chemistry of the lead pipe sections that are still in the ground. When a new copper water pipe is connected to an old lead pipe that is not being replaced, the lead pipe's chemistry is disturbed and more lead is leached into the water.
And so anytime a pipe is changed that will change the chemistry of the metals in the pipe system, you are at risk for having lead leached into even a newer area.
Right.
So if it's connected to the old pipes. When we bought the house, we planned on doing renovation to the bathrooms, which included replacing the pipe out to the street. And the plumbers said, wow, I wonder what would happen if everybody knew there was lead pipes in the street and the city, because I don't think it's on everyone's mind. He also told me before that pipe was replaced to let the water run a little bit before I drank out of it, to let the lead dilute, that would be better for me.
Failing in replacement of the pipes, water treatment plants add chemicals to reduce the corrosiveness of the water to lower the risk of lead contamination. However, some of the other chemicals added to reduce different contaminants found in water lead to an increase in lead levels. Mary Lynn Miranda's research found that chloramines added to the water to reduce carcinogenic byproducts coincided with an increase in lead levels in drinking water and in blood lead levels in children. In other words, chemicals added to purify water are causing lead contamination.
I believe the belief is that if you're careful enough in switching out pipes or creating a disturbance to lead pipes, you won't have a lead problem.
Right.
That if you keep the pipe corroded in the same way, that corrosion will stop the lead from leaching out into the water. That's personally not good enough for me, so I just don't drink the water. But I probably do when I go to restaurants in the area,
Right.
or somebody offers me tap water, you know, at the table, or I don't know what Starbucks does, you know, things like that.
Does the city or the government do anything to help you out with replacing pipes or no?
No, they don't have any responsibility about pipes on my property.
These are brand new suits that are just being filed now. They are class actions, but they are on the state level versus the federal level, because that was a class action suit that was filed recently. Now, of course, the primary defendant is the governor of the state, but also they are really focusing in on two state agencies for defendants in this case: Michigan Department of Health and Human Services and the Michigan Department of Environmental Quality. They are also asking for an injunction so that the water department does not require people to pay their bills for water that was affected, and if their water has been turned off because they haven't paid, to turn it back on. They're also saying that there has been a taking of their property rights, that because the pipes of these people with that untreated water allowed the lead from the lead pipes to go into the water, because that's the allegation of the contamination right there, and then it went into their homes and they drank it, so their property rights have decreased. And they say that if these governmental officials were only honest, that they could have prevented the health issues of everybody in the community, primarily the children and the elderly, those that are affected by all of this, and they're asking there to be some accountability.
No matter what the test reads or number it gets me, I don't want to test the water. I don't want to ingest the water. I don't want my kids to ingest the water. I don't want anyone in Flint to ingest the water right now.
This situation right now, this crisis, it affects everybody in the city. African Americans, whites, Chinese, Hispanics, you name it. And it's frustrating when people try to make it out that it's a racist issue and stuff like that, because there is no type of racist situation going on when it affects an entire community.
It's against the law to have lead paint in your house. It should be equally against the law to not have lead water.